I think I'm just drawn to the atmosphere of Yakima, of living in Yakima in a drier, semi-desert climate. I tend to like the dry hills and the sagebrush and the sensuality of the hills and what they have and the seasonal changes. And I like the big sky feeling that we have here that I'd miss if I lived somewhere else. So there's a big sky kind of feeling to everything. So everything's open and it tends to sort of stimulate your creativity to sort of have such a big open kind of space in which to live in. But I was always looking down all my life on the reservation. I was always looking at the earth and seeing the different kinds of things that grow right at ground level. And then relating to that has, I think, helped my painting a great deal. So my flowers are not real flowers, and so they sort of have an abstraction to them themselves. I'm not interested in the total reality or the botanical level of a flower. I'm interested in what it has to say and what it does to the painting. All my paintings have an interesting surface to them, and I'm always very interested in the surface of things as much as I'm interested in what it's going to say in the end. Occasionally I do paint in bright colors, and not many people get to see those because those are always gone right away. I think people are used to sort of what I call my dead rat colors, and those are going to always be with me, so I don't think I'll ever change that premise very much. It's getting warmer though, and I do paint in color sometimes, and there are color in my muted tones as well. So right now in my life, I'm tending to understand green better because I never really understood green very well, whereas I always understood brown and gray and black and white. Child with my mother taught me to be an artist. She always had some ways of doing things that she would explain and show me how to do, and I was always interested to know how to do something. So she would show me lots of little tricks that she had in her creativity of crocheting, knitting, sewing, Indian beadwork, all kinds of different projects she'd always have on her own, so I would always be interested in what she was doing. And then I went to a commercial art school, and I decided I would become a painter, and I had a remainder of my scholarship money from the reservation, and so they allowed me to go to Europe and spend a year in Europe. And so I really enjoyed that. I got to be almost like a foreign exchange student with two families, one in Spain and one in Germany. And Germany had a fellow son that was a college art student. So he showed me a lot, and we scootered in Spain and did interesting things in Germany and saw a lot of art wherever we went. It was really quite an eye-opener for me at 19 years old or 20, something like that. So to see great art and architecture is always helpful to any young student or any person of any age. If you find something interesting like that to go and see and have that opportunity to do so, it's really quite great. It was hard for me as a young person because I was almost too fresh off the reservation and wasn't really aware of a whole lot of things. So both my parents spoke the Indian language, but since I was born in the 42, at those times and growing up, Indians were sort of segregated against. And so my parents wanted us to grow up as contemporaries and not as traditional Indians, although they both spoke the language and had their traditions themselves. And mother always beaded and did Indian things and loom work and made her own Indian costume. She made me an Indian costume when I was in grade school, and I used to do traditional powwow dances, and mother and I would go to powwows when I was a kid. My father always says, well, why don't you just paint houses? Why are you painting paintings? Do something that is going to give you a steady income. And I just have always refused to. My parents could never force me to really get out and get a job, so I had to stay home and maintain the house and have dinner on the table and things like that because they were all working people. I always knew I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to do something more unique than anybody else in my family. I often try to include other younger artists when I'm showing in my own home and studio, and my gallery spaces, I always allow younger people to come in and have the opportunity to put something on the wall or a chance to sell it. Even if it's to start at a low price, it delights them to sort of learn something for themselves as well. And often if I do well in my own sale of painting, I always spend a small amount of buying another younger person's art in order not just to please them, but because I'm excited about what they're doing and I think they have potentials. So it's like giving back again and helping other younger people develop into themselves. So.